know why the hell you telling me?
Dennis Sperling. That's your mama, you know what I'm talking about.
Copy him.
Mama, that go that man, he just talk a lot of shit. He be up late at night, tuning into all his hits. See my grandmama hate him, and my mama and my TD getting mad. Posting comments like we watching real TV. Mama, that go that man, yelling from that nigga, what? He successful attorney on the two, be turning up. We be turning up, we turning up, yeah, we be turning up. Mama, that show coming on, you like?
I don't like that bullshit.
He already started.
I don't know why the hell you telling me?
Dennis Sperling. That's your mama, you know what I'm talking about.
Copy him.
Mama, that go that man, he just talk a lot of shit. He be up late at night, tuning into all his hits. See my grandmama hate him, and my mama and my TD getting mad. Posting comments like we watching real TV. Mama, that go that man, yelling from that nigga, what? He successful attorney on the two, be turning up. We be turning up, we turning up, yeah, we be turning up, yeah, turning up. It's that real spit, like some barbershop talk, except it's real black man that be walking for me a walk. Intelligent, well versed, and sometimes we might curse, well we cuss a lot, just like these lovely ladies fuss a lot. Switch it up, tell these suckers gotta pick it up, move along. Me and you ain't brothers, not the womb I'm on. Cross-examination on in the chat room. All the trolls with the disrespect, we in the back room. Huffing and you sucking up the air like a vacuum. Daddy disappeared, told you baby I'll be back soon. I just represent us cause the system can't afford it. I'm your homie, I'm your brother, sometimes a court appointed. Anointed, know you hate it, but I give you fair chosen. Just like Jesus in the house of God, kicking chairs over. Suit and tie soldier, give the cold shoulder. The hate and you talking, not a fucking stain on me. Watch your dame homie, I got that change on me. Black rich, I don't give a shit, bet your dame want me. Mama, that go that man, he just talk a lot of shit. He be up late at night, tuning into all his hits. See my grandmama hate him.
That's my mother business. You ain't got a goddamn thing to do with it.
And my mama and my TD getting mad, posting comments like we watching real TV. Mama, that go that man, he talk a lot of shit. He be up late at night, tuning into all his hits. See my grandmama hate him, and my mama and my TD getting mad, posting comments like we watching real TV. Mama, that go that man. Mama, that go that man. Mama, that go that man. Yeah. Mama, that go that man.
What's up? Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, all the good people out there in YouTube land. Hit the number 1 button if you can hear me. I am the notorious Blizzard King, Uncle D, Dennis Sperling. Welcome to the broadcast. As you all know, you should notice something's a little different. Huh? If you look in the lower right-hand corner of the of this screen here, you notice that the Cash App, the Super Chat is back. It should be up right now. I turned that on because apparently y'all really wasn't feeling the Cash App situation. So that's there. I'm gonna double check myself to make sure I did it the right way. I might have to cancel this and come and bring it right back in. But let's see here. Yeah, the Cash App is popping once again because you all was not feeling that whole the Super Chat is popping again. Shout out to Brian L. Ponder. One, what up, Blizzard King? Now look, apparently you all have been saving up to pay me for my time because y'all didn't appreciate that Cash App situation. We tried it. Me and my accountant agree that we'll just go ahead and give Google their cut because you all find it too inconvenient, hallelujah, to pay me for my time via Cash App. Nevertheless, man, welcome to the broadcast. My name is Dennis Sperling. I appreciate you guys. However you decide to show your appreciation, hit the like button, hit the Cash App, man, whatever you're going to do. Hit the Super Chat now and all that other stuff. Big shout out to the replay gang, man. The replay gang is awesome, man. I might get 2,000 people to watch the show live and then 10,000 people to watch it replay. Shout out to New York. Man, I got a lot of people in New York. Shout out to Chicago, man. My people in Chicago, take care of me, man. What's up, son? Word by son. And y'all make sure y'all go check out my man Accountability Commentary, man. I like his work, man. I had him on. I had a little bit of his work the other day. Done a broadcast. I just found it hilarious. But since then, I've been checking him out on a regular basis. We've got a lot of talented people here on YouTube. A lot of this is almost like the place where it's a talent farm. You know what I mean? For entertainers, they're just some naturally hilarious, interesting people, and that brother is one of them. So shout out to the Accountability Commentary. I believe the brother's from New York. But either way, welcome. Always good to be back here. We got a very interesting conversation. And what I'm doing is I'm going to continue breaking down every now and then some of the more interesting broadcasts from the late, great Kevin Samuels. Somebody type KS in the chat room. Somebody type Kevin Samuels in the chat room. We're going to break down one of his more interesting statements. And that was any black man. Well, actually, I actually have the video pulled up for you, so I'll let you hear it when Kevin said it. Many of you guys know this. And the crazy thing, at the time he said it, I disagreed with him. I was like, nah, brother, I can't do that. Now, Kevin and I didn't always agree on everything. But since that time, I had to go back and revisit and ask myself, well, what did this man really mean? Because surprisingly, when you begin to dig deeper into what the brother was saying, he knew a lot. Now, he masked it in a way that was palatable for the public. But for the most part, he knew what he was talking about. And it's typically...
Just put yourself in the dunce.
Let's check this out. This is the video right here. Shout out to the late, great Kevin Samuels. I'll say fair use. Let's analyze what he's saying.
Any black man that used the word tricking, just put yourself in the dunce caps. Tricking is a word that you try to use for men who you can't beat. And access to beautiful women starts with your resources, and they pay it because it is far more efficient and effective. See, for all you game and trick dudes, what you cannot tell me is the time value of your money and how much time you have to put into gaming a broad up versus saying, look here, man, Richard Gere, $3,000 for the weekend access, and then you step it. But the problem is you don't have the $3,000.
All right, so you heard that, and let me go over what Kevin said. He basically said, and I actually have it. Shout out to the late great Kevin Samuels. And again, the Super Chat is live on the main channel. The Super Chat is live on the main channel. That little cash symbol is right there in the lower right-hand corner next to the comment section. And for those of you all who've been holding out, according to my accountant, my bookkeeper, there are a lot of people who've been holding out. Make sure you recognize that it's right there when it's time to pay me for my time if you decide to do so. But here again, let's listen, let's analyze what Kevin said. Kevin said, any black man that uses the word tricking, just put yourself in the dunce caps. And tricking is a word that you try to use for men who you can't be. Access to beautiful women starts with your resources, and they pay it because it's far more effective or efficient and effective. See, all you game and trick dudes, what you cannot tell me is the time value of your money and how much time you have put into game the brought up versus, look here, man, Richard Gere, 3,000 for a weekend access, and you're stepping. I see the problem is you. I see the problem is you don't have $3,000. Look, when you really dissect that, the way in which it was sold to you, number one, the things, the references that he said, some of the stuff, if you just look at it on a layer, you don't get it. If you look at it, it's offensive because it goes against what we've been taught. Many of us were raised coming out of the 1970s, 80s when they had that pimp mentality, you see. And so it goes against what we deem to be manhood because a lot of us got our notions of masculinity from men who thought the thing was to be a player or a pimp. And so this contrast that, but let's look at this. So the first thing you need to understand is that the statement that Brother SAMUALS made seems to address a certain perception about men, relationships, and the role wealth or resources in gaining access to women, particularly beautiful women, okay? And it particularly targets the black community, specifically black men. Now let's break down what he said. He used the term tricking. Now, Kevin appears to be addressing black men who use the term tricking, which of course many of you all know is colloquial and it refers to the act of spending money on women for their attention or affection. He's criticizing the use of the term by suggesting that those who use it negatively are not in a position to act any differently, either because they lack the resources or the desirability that comes with wealth. Okay. Now, he also referred to wearing a dunce cap, and by suggesting that men who use the term tricking metaphorically should put on a dunce cap, he's saying they're being willfully ignorant or foolish. The dunce cap is traditionally a symbol of stupidity or lack of understanding. If you look at some of these old cartoons, you'll see where they'll put like Tom or Jerry or Donald Duck or Daffy Duck in the corner with the dunce cap on if they do something. And actually, they used to really do that in schools. Now, as far as access to beautiful women, Kevin is saying that he's saying that access to attractive women often starts with your resources. And the implication, or he's really implying that having money or material wealth, it can be a key factor in attracting women. And I mean, who disagree with that? Some would call that leading with the wallet. And, you know, and some have a problem with that. And we're going to deal with those people. Somebody type trick shaming in the chat room. Somebody type trick shaming in the chat room. Somebody type trick shaming in the chat room. We're going to talk about tricking tonight. We're going to talk about tricking, and we're going to get real deep into this conversation. And you might be surprised at what you find out about yourself when we get through. Shout out to my man, David White. Thank you so much. He said, about to head to work, replay squad. Shout out to the replay squad. Now, efficiency and effectiveness of paying. And this was Kevin's whole premise. He's arguing that paying for access to women is straightforward. It's a straightforward transaction that can be more efficient and effective than gaming, which means using your social skills or your psychological strategies to attract women without financial transactions. Somebody type crisp mouthpiece in the chat room. Somebody type crisp mouthpiece in the chat. trick shaming, okay? Time value of your money. He brings up in the statement that he made, he brings us up the economic concept of the time value of money, suggesting that the time men spend trying to attract women, gaming, might not be worth it compared to simply paying for the companionship, as the latter could save time and potentially be more straightforward. How long is it going to take you to get this woman in the bed, right? If she's not really attracted to you. How long is it going to take? Just let's keep it 100. These dime pieces, these supermodels, these actresses, come on, man. These IG models, they get 1,000 inboxes a day, right? From a bunch of desperate dudes around the world trying to holler at them. So do you want to try to set yourself apart from all that, or do you want to say, hey, miss, I got 2 G's for you. You know what I'm saying? What's happening? How do you want to do it? How much time do you have? Do you have time to fly to where she is, take her to a $500 dinner? Do you have time to talk on the phone for hours on end? Do you have time to win her over emotionally? Do you have time for all that? I'm gonna be honest with you. I get paid $1,000 an hour, and that's just on a regular day. And oftentimes it's more than that. If I talk to a woman for $1,000 an hour, I've lost an hour. It's to the point now I often have Uber pick my children up because of 20 or 30 minutes it would take to drive them back and forth. Well, darn it, my goodness, I'm losing money. So I do understand the time value of money. And I think that's what Kevin Samuels was trying to explain. So let's talk about trick shaming. Again, he references Richard Gere in the movie Pretty Woman. And he mentions that Richard Gere's character in the movie Pretty Woman spends $3,000 for a weekend with a woman he meets as a way to illustrate this point. And we're going to dig into that. In the film, Gere's character, he engages in a clear transaction. It's like, baby, look, needs the money, blah, blah, blah. And it leads to a weekend-long companionship. And it's portrayed as more efficient use of his resources than pursuing a traditional romantic relationship. Here's the thing. We'll talk about the movie in a minute, but the effect is by saying the problem is you don't owe $3,000. You don't have $3,000. Kevin is pointing out that the criticism often comes from those who cannot afford it, who can't afford to pay for companionship as the character in Pretty Woman does. And this could imply that if the critics had means, they might also opt for this more straightforward transaction. So that's basically the breakdown. Now we're going to dig into it. Y'all hit the number 1 button, and there's some brilliance in there, and I want to analyze, and there's a lot of psychology going on, and some of us don't understand. Now, the first thing, Kevin references pop culture in the movie Pretty Woman, so I want to kind of explain that to you. So Pretty Woman is a 1990s romantic tale. I remember when it came out. I was probably a teenager, something like that. Julia Roberts, beautiful, beautiful woman. She played Vivian Ward, and she was a vivacious sex worker. You understand? But I mean, gorgeous, not like the ones I used to see on Figueroa when I was young, coming home on the bus, the RTD, the rapid transit district. They didn't look like them. Okay, no, she was fine. But anyway, Vivian, she's a sex worker, and she meets a gentleman, Edward Lewis, and he's a wealthy businessman from New York. And Edward Lewis ended up hiring her as an escort. Now, Edward Lewis is played by Richard Gere. Vivian Ward is played by I just forgot the girl's name. Just slipped my mind. That's crazy. It's played by doggone it. Oh man, I can't believe that, man. Come on, give me the name. I just said the lady's name. I can't believe I forgot the name. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. It's played by her. Okay. It's played by her. And she fine. And anyway, so after hiring her to be his escort, he goes to several upscale events. Edwards and Vivian, their initial transaction it began to slowly develop into some genuine connection. I want you to type, yeah, Julia Roberts. Somebody type genuine connection in the chat room. Okay. I'm gonna explain that. Somebody type tricks and pros. Somebody type tricks and pros. Somebody type tricks and pros. Throughout the movie, both characters confront what preconceived notions about worth, class, and love, and it leads to some personal growth and realization that love transcends social barriers, because that's really what this is about. It's really like a Cinderella story juxtaposed to a gritty reality life about the streets with the opulence of high society. It's all wrapped up in humor, heart, and rope. Look, man, if you it's a chick flick. Let you and your gal need to watch it, okay? But the thing about Edward Lewis is that, as I said, he's a wealthy, successful man. He specializes in buying and breaking up companies, okay? So what does that tell you about somebody when you break up companies? And we just tipping the iceberg right now. Somebody that has a profession of breaking up companies, that means he's breaking up somebody's business. He's putting people out of a job that's been working there for decades and dedicated their whole life to it. He might be gutting their pension. He putting, you lose your job after 40 years of working to the same place with no pension. This is what this man does. It shows you that he's heartless. But really what it shows you is there's some emotional detachment. Somebody type emotional detachment in the chat room. I promise you're going to learn something if you hang out. Just stay with me, baby. If you love, you're going to learn something. But it in his, we don't see a lot. It's not an exhaustive backstory on Edward's relationship with his parents, but it does offer some insights through Edward's own reflections and conversations with the character played by Julia Roberts, Vivian Ward. Again, here's what we know about his parental relationship. Pay attention, okay? I want y'all to listen. So, the father-son relationship, okay? Edward mentions his strained relationship with his father. Now, again, it's normal to have a father-son relationship. Many of you all know that, in the Black community, we don't have a lot of father-son relationships because, unfortunately, a lot of the brothers, didn't have. We live in a matriarchy. But nevertheless, the person that you are closest to, okay, the person that you look up to most, this parent happens to be the father in this story. And he talks about how they were not close and how his father's multiple marriages affected him, multiple relationships. Okay, listen, it's implied that his father was more focused on work and his own life than on being a parent to Edward. Ding, ding, ding. This lack of nurturing, somebody type lack of nurturing and supportive relationship with his father is what they think could have driven Edward to develop a similarly detached approach to his own business dealings and his personal relationships. So not only is he emotionally detached in business, you breaking up companies, you're a bad guy. And you also detach from personal relationships. Emotional, the other thing is, Edward reveals that he's emotionally distant, which is likely a defense mechanism because as a result of his upbringing, he finds it challenging to connect with others on a deeper level, as shown in his relationship with women before meeting Vivian. This emotional relationship can be the consequences of not having a close or emotionally fulfilling relationship with his parents. The movie suggests that Edward focuses on work and his identity as a corporate raider. It may be a way to fill the void left by an emotionally distant relationship with his parents, especially his father. Look how this is all going back. His workaholic nature, his relentless pursuit of success could be seen as a compensation for the lack of approval or affection he received at home. How many of you all out here looking for approval? Still, somebody type lack of approval. Somebody type validation in the chat room. Just roll with me, baby. Shout out to my man, Randy Everett. As you guys know, the super chat is open up here. And I wanted you guys to learn something. So just hang with me. You're gonna learn something. I'm telling you. Some of you all are already starting. The ones that sit in the front of the class, you already see what's happening, where we're going with this. Now, although not explicitly stated, the pressure of living up to certain image or expectation might have been part of Edward's upbringing, leading him to pursue wealth and success as a way to gain validation that he may not have received from his parents. Listen, now the character of Eric is typically a portrayal of how childhood experiences and parental relationships. Somebody type your mama in the chat room. Somebody type your mom in the chat room. Parental relationships can significantly shape an adult's personality, behaviors, and views on personal relationships. His evolution throughout the film, influenced by his relationship with Vivian, shows his gradual opening up to vulnerability and the move away from the emotional walls he had built as a result of his past. Now, as far as in Pretty Woman, Vivian Ward, the worker, right, the pro. Somebody type tricks and pros in the chat room, man. We're gonna go there, right? Her opinion about men who pay for sex, because this is what we're getting at, right? We talk about cash for company, not love. We talk about how riches rule. This woman's opinion about men who pay for sex is not really outlined through a detailed monologue or explicit discussion, but rather through various interactions and moments in the film, and that hint at her perspective. While the movie doesn't delve deeply into it, Vivian's psychological analysis of her clients, and this is what we want to dig into, and we can infer her views based on her behavior and her dialogue. This is what we want to talk about, okay? Because a lot of you all, we're talking about trick shaming. And we're going to get to that in a minute. Trick shaming, okay? But before we get to the trick shaming, we got to understand what these pros think, and we got to understand this perspective of these tricks and these pros. Here's what you can glean from Vivian, who's a prototypical pro, right? As far as what she thinks about men who pays for her services. Number one, she approaches her work with the level of pragmatism. She has rules such as not kissing on the mouth to maintain an emotional distance. Somebody type emotional distance. This implies an understanding of the transactional nature of her work. She sees the exchanges with her clients as a business arrangement, not personal, not interencounters, not personal encounter. And there's an implicit understanding of the power dynamic at play in her interaction. Vivian is aware that men who come to her seeking not just sexual gratification, but also a sense of control and fantasy fulfillment. This awareness doesn't seem to bother her. She accepts it as part of her job. And Vivian has no illusions about the romantic potential of these interactions. She understands that these men are paying for a service and that there's no emotional future in it. And this is highlighted by her initial belief at the developing relationship with Edric. She's not used to men seeing her beyond her profession. You understand? She's emotionally distant. He's emotionally distant. Somebody type tricks and pros in the chat room. And y'all can take the H word and put it on the pro, and y'all know what I'm saying, but Uncle D trying to keep it kosher because, the kids are listening. But anyway, Vivian, while Vivian can be seen cynical about men and relationships due in part to what she does for a living, she also maintains a certain hope, right? And dream of a different life. And that's revealed in the conversation about fairy tales and being rescued by Prince. This duality suggests that while she, being a pro, has a jaded view of men she encounters professionally, she still harbors a belief in the possibility of genuine connection, forever the romantic. She has some clear boundaries with her clients. And that reflects a self-protective stance. She seems to regard the men with a professional detachment, understanding that the temporary and superficial nature of what she does, that's all they're interested in her. There's nothing wrong. Now, a little bit about her backstory, okay? What we do understand is that her previous relationship ended badly, and that further affected her trust with men and possibly reinforcing her view on sex. Vivian's parents, listen, parents, somebody type your mama in the chat room. Vivian's parents are not present in her life during the events of the movie. It's not explicitly stated what happened to them or why they're absent, but the lack of mention in their absence in her life suggests that she may be independent from a young age. Now, why is that? We can speculate. Was she abandoned? Did something happen? Did somebody inappropriately do something inappropriate with her when she was young? I don't know. But at a point, Vivian mentioned she stopped talking to her mom around the time she got her braces off, which means she stopped talking to her mom when she was, what, mid-teens, right? And this line indicates a strained, distant relationship. So now, again, we're talking about another emotional detachment from the mom, all right? And with her mother, and possibly hints at why Vivian has found herself without any family support. Vivian's involvement in the game, we'll call it the game because I don't want to have a problem with YouTube, is portrayed as a means of survival. There's an implication that due to her circumstances, perhaps partially stemming from her lack of parental support or guidance, she turned to working these streets. You understand what I'm talking about? She out in these streets because she had to get that paper. Remember, let's go back to the pragmatic part. She's already emotionally detached. It's a way to make a living when other opportunities weren't available. Again, despite her situation, she still has dreams. She has aspirations. She tells Edward about her childhood and how she wished to escape and be rescued by a prince. So who was the dragon in her childhood? You see, that she needed to escape from. It's not mentioned, but it's implied. You understand? If you're a princess and you're waiting for a Prince Charming to come and save you, it's either a big bad, it's a wicked witch in there, or it's a dragon. You see what I'm saying? But either way, so we can dig into that. The other thing is, we know she dropped out of high school, indicating a deviation from traditional education and career path. And this could be due to a variety of reasons, including potentially her home life. Again, there's some more references to what she had to deal with at home. I'm thinking the inference is something happened to her. Okay, and I'm gonna dig into it a little bit more. But the one thing you notice about her throughout the film, Vivian displays a strong sense of self-reliance and independence. And this could stem from having to grow up without a strong parental support system. She didn't have mom, she didn't have dad. Yeah, it's a dragon in there. The M word is possible. And this taught her to fend for herself. Now, the question that I want to ask, and I'm gonna need to go get a little tea, and we're gonna take a little break. Why do we have so many modern men willing to pay for sex? What is the source of this phenomenon? Where did it come from? Now, keep relating to this story about old buddy. You see what I'm saying? About Richard Gere, about the corporate raider, okay? We'll deal with this when we come back. Y'all make sure y'all do what you got to do. Hit the #1 button, and hopefully you guys are listening to something you like. Hopefully I'm getting it in there. But anyway, we'll be right back. What you can do for them. What you can do for the black community. Men. What the black men can do from the black community. You never hardly ever hear about women being imposed upon these rich women. What are they going to do for the black? You never hear that. Why? Because this is solely a male obligation. Now, we'll talk about that a little bit too, but I want to point out something to you. These pro-blacks weaponize race. They pit black women and white women against each other. It's not even the problem that they claim it to be. 85% of black men are married to women of African descent. So why is this even a problem with what 15% of black men are doing? It's not even a big problem. It's a sales pitch. And what follows that sales pitch is give me some money. All right, welcome back to the broadcast. Are y'all with me, man? I hope y'all follow me. Now we're about to get to the meat of the thing. We're about to get down to the nitty gritty. Somebody type nitty gritty in the chat room. Somebody type tricks and pros in the chat room. Come on, baby. Tricks and pros in the chat room. Now let me put the Cash App up. It seemed like y'all light tonight. Y'all been light. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe I need to be more interesting. Anyway, so here's the thing. I want you to listen. Why is it that we have so many modern men who are willing to pay for sex? What's the source of this phenomenon, fam? Okay, let's just be honest. And what are we talking about? This is where we started off today.
Dunce caps. Tricking is a word.
This is
Any black man that use the word tricking, just put yourself in the dunce caps. Tricking is a word that you try to use for men who you can't beat. And access to beautiful women starts with your resources, and they pay it because it is far more efficient and effective. See, for all you game and trick dudes.
All right, so Kevin made this statement maybe later on in 2002, right before, I don't know, it was 2001, right before he passed away. When he initially said it, I disagree with him. Like, man, that ain't cool, bro. And it's the same thing about cheating. Some stuff I agree with him, some stuff I didn't agree with him. But either way, there's some brilliance in here we need to analyze, because even if I don't agree with him, there's some truth in here that needs to be dealt with. So first of all, we wouldn't have all these pros if we didn't have all these tricks. You understand what I'm saying? It's a lot of tricking. IG is a trick factory. You understand? It's filled up with pros. Somebody type about in the inbox, the DMs, right? It's going down in the DM, right? There's a lot of tricking going on, man. So what does this mean? Why is this where did this come from, right? It reflects, reflecting on the increase in the number of escorts in the game. It's compelling to consider that the underlying psychology of both women who enter into this line of work and the men who patronize their services, the tricks and the pros. Many women who I want you to listen to this. I want you to understand, because this is all, we're gonna land this, we're gonna park this bus right in your grandma's front yard. Many women become sex workers, have historically endured childhood sex abuse. And that's that dragon that Julia Roberts' character, Vivian, wanted the prince to come save her from. It was unmentioned because otherwise it'd be too gritty. It wouldn't be a chick flick, right? It couldn't be Cinderella story. It wouldn't work right. But this traumatic experience can lead them to later perceiving sex as less significant. Somebody type less significant in the chat room. We talking about the women first. How do the pros get to that mindset that sex is less significant? How do we get there? And then we're gonna talk about the fellas. So now we're at the point, right? Something happened to these women, and now they perceive sex as less significant, and that which can be a subconscious attempt to regain control over something, right? That once used to violate them. Oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. You minimize it. And not only it wasn't that big of a deal, it's so not a big of a deal, I'm going to commodify it. I'm going to turn sex into a commodity. And by commodifying sex, they may feel a sense of empowerment over their bodies, choosing either to engage in it excessively or to monetize it. So they end up becoming sluts, right? Or pros. And this mechanism of coping can devalue the personal significance of sex to them, allowing them to detach from what? Trauma. Oh, yeah, I know that happened to me when I was 12 years old, but you know what? That ain't nothing. That was just one time. It's only worth $40. It's only worth $40. That ain't that big of a deal. Okay? So I can do what? It's a coping mechanism. They devalued it. They devalue the significance of sex, and that allows them to detach from the emotions and the trauma. Nobody wants to feel like, damn, they've been victimized. Nobody wants to feel that insecure in their person. Imagine somebody, how you know how you feel, fellas, for you guys to understand. Have you ever been robbed? Have you ever had somebody pull a gun on you? Or have you ever had your house broken into? Now, you weren't there at that time. Imagine that feeling and multiply times 100. Somebody broke into your body. That's why grape is taken so seriously. They didn't break into your house. They got as intimate up. They broke into your body. That's what they did. And that's something you can never get over. I still remember when I was a little boy living in 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas, when I would come visit, and people would break into my dad's house, and I know how violated we felt, and I was just a kid. So imagine how these women feel when they violated at a young, they didn't break into your house. They broke into her body against her will. And so imagine the coping mechanisms that they have to develop to not, you would be afraid your whole life. You understand? So again, now what effect does this have? Somebody say you can't turn a pro into a housewife. Somebody say you can't turn a pro into a housewife. Come on, one more time. You can't turn a pro into a housewife. Y'all know what I'm talking about. As consequences, these individuals, these ladies, they're going to struggle with understanding loyalty within intimate relationships. Why? Because sex is less significant to them. Sex is not, it's something it was something that they sold. It's something that they've minimized in their mind. So they might have a view of sex as mere activity, like running some laps, you know, dropping somebody off to get some Newport Slims and a 40 ounce. It's not that big of a deal for them. They see sex as merely activity, making it challenging to maintain sexual exclusivity with a partner like that. And this often leads to emotionally detached transactional relationships that are typically short-lived and devoid of deep emotional connection. See, this lack of emotional intimacy can even affect their approach on parenting. Your mama was a pro. Your mama was a slut. You understand what I'm saying? Your mama has had all these different men growing up in your life. The reason she was able to do that is because she was emotionally detached. And when you talk about street workers, you got a basketball player complaining right now because his girlfriend, his wife, he decided to turn a pro into a housewife, and his wife got an OnlyFans account. Right? We know why. Right? Because she sees sex as nothing more, it's insignificant. She commodified it. And if you look into that woman's history, guess what? You probably gonna see a dragon in her past, in her childhood. So understand that. Now, what happens when you got a slut raising you? Somebody type your mama in the chat room. Someone, let's keep it 100, man. All these guys that follow me, brothers, you know you had issues with your mothers. That's why you got issues right now with women. When you see that same trait, you run away. A lot of us had very promiscuous mothers. And the question is why? Why? Because they had a lot of sex, because they grew up in that time period where sex was seen as just an activity, and they're emotionally detached. And they raised us, and we're emotionally detached. Is ding, 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 ding. Is things starting to come together now? Because remember, the question here is, why do we have so many modern men willing to pay for sex? What's the source of this phenomenon? Where did it come from? Somebody type emotionally detached. Now, in the case with Richard Gere, is because his father, who was his father figure, the person he looked up to, was emotionally detached from him, and therefore he was emotionally detached. He was distant. So now what? Are you starting to see it? I hope some lights are coming off of somebody. Now look, tricks and pros in the making. How does this happen? Okay? Tricks and pros in the making. The men who seek out services of sex workers often have their own emotional hurdles. They may have experienced emotional detachment within their family environment. Somebody type, yo mama, okay? And what did that lead to? That led to leading to and avoidance of intimacy. Here's some real life examples. Okay. Jaquan grew up in a household where his mother rarely expressed affection, or I'm gonna just say parents, where his parents rarely expressed affection, support towards each other or to their children. As a result, John struggles to form deep emotional connections in his own relationships, and this often keeps partners at a distance to avoid vulnerability. So John is an example of how experiencing emotional detachment can lead to an avoidance of emotional intimacy when you get older. Gloctavia was raised by a single parent, mother, who was emotionally unavailable due to her long work hours and personal stress. Maria learned to rely solely on herself, and now as an adult finds it difficult to open up and depend on others, fearing emotional intimacy may lead to disappointment or burden someone else. That's the same thing that Vivian was dealing with. That's the same thing that the Julia Roberts character was dealing with. Parents just wasn't there. Parents weren't there, emotionally unavailable. Guess what? Now this woman fears emotional intimacy. All right, so this is how we get to emotional detachment. Andrew had parents who discouraged the expression of feelings, teaching him that emotional expression was a sign of weakness. Now, as an adult, Andrew finds himself uncomfortable in situations that require emotional openness, and he tends to end romantic relationships abruptly when things start to get serious. Some of y'all had that, Daddy. Don't cry, boy, be a man. You know what I'm talking about. You know Andrew. Right? All of this leads to tricking. Understand? Because you're not attached. Emotions don't mean that much to you. All right, let's get another one. Keisha's family never discussed personal problems or emotional issues, focusing on surface level communications. Hey girl, how you doing? Your hair look good. Oh yeah, all right. Nothing else. As a result, Keisha is proficient in social settings. She knows how to move through the crowd, but becomes anxious and withdrawn when a relationship starts to demand the sharing of deeper emotions. She can't do it. You see? Let's do another one. Kevin. He was often teased by his siblings when he showed emotion, which led to him suppressing his feelings from a young age. In his current relationship, he finds it challenging to express what he truly feels, leading to a pattern of emotional detachment from his parents. Are y'all with me, fam? Are y'all with me? All right. How about Alex? He was raised in a military family where stoicism was valued over emotional expression. His father was strict, rarely showed any signs of vulnerability. This could very well be y'all mama. My mama was so strong. What does that mean? She doesn't show any signs of vulnerability. Consequently, Alex has difficulty expressing his emotions in his relationships and often appearing aloof or uncaring, even when he deeply cares about somebody. You're so distant. You're so distant. Some of you guys who date these Latina women in these other countries, they're all emotional because they're used to being emotional. That's part of their culture. And you got to get used to it. It's difficult for you to even accept all them hugs and attention and whatnot because you was raised to be emotionally detached. That's Black America in a nutshell, even the women. All right, let's keep listening. Raise your hand if I'm hitting home, hallelujah. raise your hand if it's that's me. Come on. We'll talk about another. Benjamin grew up with a father who was physically present but emotionally distant. His father never attended any sporting event. Your daddy was never there, right? Or engaged in any deep conversation. Now, as an adult, Ben finds himself repeating his pattern, struggling to be emotionally present with his own children and his own partner. All right, Chris, we got another one. Chris was taught by his father that men don't cry and was often chastised for showing emotion. This led Chris to equating emotions with weakness. In his intimate relationship, he has a hard time expressing love or admitting fears. often leading to misunderstanding and a sense of isolation. David's parents divorced when he was young, and he lived with his father, who was bitter about the separation. Y'all had some bitter moms too, and closed off emotionally. David learned to keep his feelings to himself, and as an adult, he tends to shut down emotionally when faced with conflict in his romantic relationship. All right? Are y'all following this? Is this on point? Okay, let's do one more. Don Trail saw his father being emotionally dependent on his mama, a simp, which led him to unhealthy marriage. Wanting to avoid the same fate, Don Trail now overcompensates by avoiding emotional closeness and dependency at all costs, which hampers the development of deeper bonds. You understand what I'm saying? Now, what's the deal? For these men, right? These men engaging with escort allows them to bypass the need for emotional connection, which is a requirement in most traditional relationships. Again, let me say that again, because this is the most important thing you need to understand. For men who are emotionally detached, engaging with an escort, in other words, pay for play, being a trick, allows them to bypass the need for any emotional connection, which is a requirement in most relationships. They may transition from watching porn, which lacks any emotional investment. You ain't got to do nothing else. You just flip some buttons, right? To utilizing these broads. Somebody type passport bros overseas. Somebody type passport bro. Essentially, they're acting on the same impulse, but with the financial means to make it a physical experience. It's sex without having to do any emotional investment. That's all they're doing. It's sex without any emotional investment. And these men suffer from severe self-esteem issues sometimes, believing they're unable to attract a desirable partner without monetary transactions, and thus avoiding potential rejection. That's also plays a part. But for the most part, you're dealing with men who don't want to invest in emotional connection. They don't have to do it. They could just pay for it. That's why we have such a rise in it. You understand? Or one of the reasons. Now, in situations requiring emotional intelligence and empathy, such as recognize a partner's lack of desire or controlling, you know that girl don't want you. You fat, bad built, you got back acne, your breath stink. You know she don't want you. But if you're emotionally, if you're emotionally unconnected, you don't care. Okay? See, here's the thing. Give me a minute. Jelly jar break. In a situation requiring emotional intelligence and empathy, such as recognize when this girl does not like you, right? When you're confronting the possibility that this woman's choices are driven by trauma, right? You indifferent. You don't care as long as you're there. Right? Because you're only so focused on personal gratification, disregarding her emotional journey that led her to end up in them streets. Whether it's in Thailand, Dominican Republic, Brazil, whatever, you don't care because you was raised to be emotionally distant because of your background. Somebody type your mama in the chat room. You understand? You only focus on your own personal gratification. Makes sense. And here's the other thing you got to understand. Tricks and pros, they're a perfect match for each other. Perfect. There's the ironic twist in that these men and these women both are disconnected from their emotions. They can find themselves forming bonds or even falling in love with one another. And this challenges the narrative about that a lot of people say that, let's just keep it 100, okay? A lot of people say in the red pill community that men want inexperienced girls, good girls. In reality, men, they fall in love with these pros, man. They do. It's basketball players, businessmen, and it's precisely because they can receive an ego boost without the need for an emotional investment. And getting sex with a beautiful woman is an ego boost. And it caters to their own emotional limitations. Perfect match. Match made in the back of the brothel. You understand what I'm talking about? Bam. While other women, they might want to seek emotional intimacy before providing such validation, sex workers just fulfill it with no need to do it. Right? We got an arrangement. Here you go. Give me some money. You get it. You get your reward. I get mine. We both detach. Beautiful. And it's ideal for men grappling with emotional deficits. Many of you brothers raised to be detached. If your mama raised you to be hard, if you grew up in the ghetto when you hard, you're emotionally detached. If you find it difficult sharing your emotions, you think it's you weak if you cry, you all emotionally detached. It's gonna be, you think it stops right there? No, it's not. Now, I've been in a few houses of ill repute myself. I done paid for some myself. I have. You see? Yeah, after 3 a.m. in Houston, the only places still open are the script club. Somebody type Richmond Boulevard on the chat room. Somebody type Richmond Boulevard. Riding down the street to the strip club to see some fine and brown up there. What's the name of that? Onyx. I used to go up there all the time. I'd probably pay some tuition up at Onyx. Praise God. I done probably help some girls get through U of H and TSU. Up at probably some law schools. I got some skin in the game out there, man. But it was nothing open at 3 a.m. So that's what you do, right? It's clear to me that these women, due to the nature of their job, often came to see men as nothing but sources of income. You understand? And anybody who's been to like a normal strip club, like, you know, not them highfalutin ones where you can't touch nothing, you got to sit there in a sport coat behind a bar and pass out 20. No, I'm talking about that one where they play rap music and the girls come down off that pole and do the full split. Blow! That's the ones I'm talking about, okay? That's the ones I'm talking about. So when you go to those strip clubs, the atmosphere, right? These ladies they hustling. They are not in there with emotions. They're skilled at maximizing their earnings from the clients, utilizing all kinds of sales techniques and tricks to encourage most spending. Hallelujah, most spending, right? The $20 lap dance, your $2 Tuesday. You know what I'm talking about. All right, but what's the side effect? Many of these dancers seem to have difficulty forming genuine emotional connections with men outside work. Now, they got there because of an emotional disconnect. And then now that they're there, it's even worse because they're forming more of an emotional disconnect because they see men as what? Nothing but source of income. And their professional environment requires a transactional approach to interaction. And they've already minimized sex. They have an emotional detachment. It's not surprising that this mentality might seep over into their personal lives. Blurring the lines. It's no exclusive to strippers, right? It's not exclusive to strippers. It extends to those areas of sex work like OnlyFans creators. You think you just sitting back there showing your booty to everybody, getting money. You don't think that has an effect on you? It blurs the lines. Here's another thing. We've heard this. We always hear this. These pros don't respect tricks. But they've never actually explained why. I read the book, and this is going to bring a lot of light to it. I read the book, Iceberg Slim. Somebody type Iceberg Slim in the chat room, okay? These workers, here's what happened. The sex worker, the pro, right? Let's put our hats on and put our minds, let's think about them. They find themselves left with a pool of men who they don't fundamentally respect. They see you as just a source of income. Now, in general, women might respect men who exhibit traditional masculine traits such as leadership, protectiveness, and the ability to provide. Yet in the world of sex work, the clients, the Johns, the tricks, they often lack self-esteem and are naive to expect loyalty. Remember that movie? What was the movie with that old girl? She's 60 years old, talking about what she want a man to pay all her bills. Oh man, it was in Ice Cube. It came out in the 90s. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Remember the little dude that stalked Diamond in that movie? He stalked Diamond. He's naive. She don't have no respect for him. You around here giving me all your money and you expect loyalty? Right? Even non-client partners. You know how there's always that one dude in the group whose girlfriend was a stripper. He's a non-client partner, right? And you accept your partner's sex work. You lacking qualities of protector or provider, right? And so she even has diminished respect for you. Look at the dude, the basketball. What's this basketball player? His wife turned out to be what's his name? I think I have his name here. Hold on a minute. He just found out that his wife, is a whole sex worker out here in these streets. His name is Joe Smith and her name is Keisha Chavez. Y'all heard about that? He found out that his wife, who he married, not play wife, Joe Smith found out. But the thing is, she was a sex worker when they met. So she already didn't have respect for him. You see, she already recognized the idea that he would marry her and expect loyalty. She saw him as naive because guess what? She doesn't value sex. It's purely transactional. Now, these pros, they respect the pimps. And they respect the pimps because the pimps exhibit financial control. The tricks don't. See, it's counterintuitive, but the only semblance of respect that these women have for men comes from a person like a pimp. But why? Why is that? Why is that? Because despite him taking earnings, he's seen as more of someone exerting control rather than being manipulated. She respects the pimp. Thus, what? It's a twisted respect. But this dynamic underscores a complex and often troubled relationship between personal respect, emotional connection, and a professional facade of the sex industry. See, here's the thing. It seems that the dancers oftentimes end up in relationships with the staff and the bouncers or the door personnel and the managers. Why is that? You a CEO and this girl loved the bouncer more than she loved you. And you coming in there spending thousands every week. But what this suggests is that they're more inclined to be with someone whom they support financially rather than someone who supports them. The notion here is that men who financially support strippers are making a foolish choice since the relationship is inherently transactional. They see you as nothing but a fool. And so the women may find it difficult to respect him. Women don't love men they don't respect. Your Bible tells you what? Love your wife, and it orders the wife or the woman to respect the man. It's hard to be in a relationship with a woman who don't respect you, man. It's fundamental that your woman respects you. Now flip the script on the other hand. A man who doesn't financially rely on a stripper, such as a bouncer or a lower salary personal trainer, she helps support him. She banging the personal trainer. Look at your boy quarterback, darn it, Brady. This broad ended up banging the personal trainer. She had more respect for the personal trainer than she had Tom Brady. You understand? And now she done broke up with the boy. I bet if you look into that woman Giselle's history, I bet there's some dragons in her past. I bet she has some dragons. Growing up in Brazil, we know Brazil. I bet there's some dragons in her past too. There's some trauma back there. She don't respect sex like that. Puts low value on it. That's why she can go from banging Tom Brady, who's like, this man's a multimillionaire, known around the world. Oh my God. And you trade him for a trainer? Because she supports him. And that's the pro mentality. They respect the ones they support. He doesn't engage in the transactional relationship where he's paying. She's paying him. And so, and then as far as the bounce, subconscious, she may respect him more than she respect the CEO or Tom Brady, the one who provides a luxurious life, because she see him as naive for his financial investment. Now, let's dig deeper. Y'all with me? Did I lose you? Some of y'all was like, whoa, I didn't know. I thought we was going to talk about these pros out here tonight. We went a little deep. Yeah, this is one you're going to have to run back. You're going to have to run this one back. You have to run it back. Now, let's talk about trick shaming. Somebody type trick shaming in the chat room, because this is what we want to get at, all right? And we're going to land this bus. We're going to be there in a minute. Kevin Samuels, in this discussion, okay? And let me pull it up because I want everybody to see. Kevin Samuels in this discussion here. Y'all listen to this once again, okay? Listen to what the brother
had. The word tricking, just put yourself in the dunce caps. Tricking is a word that you try to use for men who you can't beat. And access to beautiful women starts with your resources, and they pay it because it is far more efficient and effective. Mm-hmm. See, for all you game and trick dudes, what you cannot tell me is the time value of your money and how much time you have to put into gaming a broad up versus saying, look here, man, Richard Gere, $3,000 for the weekend access, and then you step it. But see, the problem is you don't have the 3,000. No. Wait.
All right. Okay. All right. So y'all, you heard what the brother said. I broke it down. Let's keep breaking it down. I need you to understand something. Somebody type slut shaming, trick shaming in the chat room. You're going to have a great understanding about sex. You're going to have a great understanding about why you pay for that you pay for, and you can do it so easy. All right. It's not the fact that men are paying for it. It's the fact that we have so many men who are out here tricking. We need to understand. This Uncle D is talking about tricking tonight, and I need to have an understanding why so many. Look, if you're gonna do it, you do it. I just want to understand why you do it, baby. I just want you to know who you are. Because remember, know thyself. What we do on this page is we give ourselves bricks and bats, not only to defend ourselves against outward attacks, but also to make ourselves better. I just want you to have understanding. Now let's talk about slut shaming. And when it comes to the idea of slut shaming, it's proposed to be a defense mechanism to justify poor choices, right? Oh, I've had sex with all these different men. But if you say something about it, that's slut shaming. That's a defense to justify poor choices. But again, let's go back to the fact that what? A lot of these ladies, what? They've had dragons in their past, and they see sex as what? Not very important. They see it as nothing more than an activity. This is what we're dealing with. Why? Because many of them are emotionally detached. Are y'all following me? You understand? Slut shaming is an act of criticizing or mocking a person, usually a woman, usually a beautiful woman, because you don't care what them ugly bras do. It's usually a beautiful woman. Why is that important? Somebody type beautiful women in the chat room. And for their real or presumed sexual activity, because she might not even be doing nothing. Or for behaving in ways that deviate from traditional gender expectations regarding sexuality. It's a form of social stigma that implies judgment or the upholding of a double standard where women may be negatively labeled for actions that are more socially acceptable for men. Look, women can be detached emotionally and men can be detached emotionally. You see? But when women are detached emotionally and they get that thing up, it causes problems in the community. We'll deal with that in a little bit. Men, not so much, because men, we don't get pregnant. You see, and we don't. And the woman can. Give me a minute. Here's the thing. Here's what I want to say this concisely. Okay. Slut shaming also includes dressing in a certain way, having multiple sexual partners, or just being open to different sexual experiences. She tried boys, girls, dogs, cats, trees, stumps, whatever. That's some slut stuff going on. And it often reflects the underlying societal norms about purity, morality, gender roles. And it contributes to a culture that, believes in policing the bodies of women. And that's important. You understand? Now, the term slut shaming, it discourages acknowledging the flaws in one's behavior. In a broader sense, feelings such as guilt, shame, and regret serve as societal checks and balances. Somebody type checks and balances in the chat room. Somebody type keep these pros in check. You understand? Eliminating these feelings under the guise of opposing slut shaming might normalize that behavior that are potentially harmful, leading to reckless decisions. Guilt and shame, uncomfortable as they are, steers women, us men too, more towards responsible and healthier decision making. You listening? Now, addressing the sexual revolution and the freedom it entails, right? This argument made that if a woman is free to engage in sexual activities, free as men, why should the behavior be viewed negatively? However, it's pointed out that there's an inconsistency when some of these individuals who celebrate this freedom also criticize men as unworthy while simultaneously engaging with them. Think about that. Men are unworthy, but you keep bashing them. Men are unworthy of you, but you keep giving it to them. That suggests a paradox in actions. That's delusion. Okay? And views of some who embrace the sexual level is delusion. Now let's go to trick shaming. Somebody type trick shaming. The discussion that we want to talk about is trick shaming. As game theory strategies employed by each gender to maintain certain market values for sex and resources. Did y'all hear that? Huh? Why do we want to maintain a certain market value for sex and resources? What did Kevin Samuels say at the top? You ain't got the $3,000. Why do we want to maintain a certain market value for sex and resources? Why do women want to maintain a certain market value for sex and resources? Why is it that men will trick shame you for paying for it? Because they ain't got it. See, slut shaming is more prevalent among women as a way to ensure that the cost of sex remains high, meaning that the sex should not be offered without some certain commitment or resources. These women can't have you running around here, you fine and good looking, and you banging all these dudes for free. You without even all you got to do is show up and he banging for free. What does that do to the price of this commodity? On the flip side, these haters, somebody type hater in the chat room. Somebody type these men who trick shame in the chat room. Somebody type men who trick shame in the chat room. Come on, y'all with me? We're about to land it right now, baby. I'm gonna put this helicopter right on the top of your roof. Men who engage in trick shaming to criticize those men who offer resources, i.e. money, i.e. that $3,000, right? Without receiving sexual favors in return, effectively lower the value of men's provision. So let me, we call them simps too. You taking this girl out to a $500 dinner. Come on. That's the first date. Clearly that's simping. She ain't do nothing for you. You flying her to New York. You flying her to Miami. You done spent $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on her. What have you done? You've basically lowered the value of the provisions and the resources that you provide. So now the next man coming, now it costs more. Now it costs more to compete. So you tricking and they shaming you for, because like, dog, you know, on one hand, you got these bras over here who giving it away cheap and easy. On the other hand, you got these dudes over here who's willing to pay these sky high prices. So both sexes have a duty, or both sexes have a urge to try to make sure the market value for sex and resources is a certain point. Because guess what? If I got to do all that for this broad, damn, the competition is stiff. I ain't gonna never get nothing. Now, in terms of sexual selection, these tactics are seen as a form of competition within the same sex. The competition can afford to pay $10,000 to get that broad in the bedroom. I can't. So I'm gonna trick shame these dudes who do it because I don't have the $3,000. That's what Kevin Samuels was saying. That's what he was saying. You see, and what do they call it? We'll call trick shaming and simp shame. That's verbal aggression. That's what they do. That's what women do. Slut shame is verbal aggression. It becomes a tool for women and men to discourage competition and maintain their own, or we'll say women. It's a tool for women to discourage competition and maintain their own desirability by denigrating women who might be seen as lowering the value of sex. Slut shaming, therefore, becomes a strategy not only to protect their own sexual market value, but also to potentially dissuade men from pursuing those who are being shamed. You understand? Now, interestingly, it's noted, and I want you to listen. Somebody say Thailand. Somebody say Colombia. Somebody say Brazil. Somebody say baddest, finest women in the world. It's noted, okay, that this type of shaming often targets attractive women rather than unattractive women. If you all was going to these, let me get the screen big again. If y'all was going to some island where it wasn't nothing but 350-pound women with mustaches, and burnt up skin, these lovely ladies wouldn't say nothing to y'all. But the fact that you're going down to Brazil with all these women, you understand what I'm talking about? A lot of these women who are dissuading the passport bros, y'all going down there with fine women. They know these women are for what's the worst they can say? Oh, they're poor, but they fine though. You're taking advantage of them, but they're fine though. Y'all trying to trick shame these men. You see? Because guess what's happening? Then you got not only are the women trying to trick shame the men, you got dudes trying to trick shame the men. Because it's driving down their own sexual marketplace value. You are not going to go down to Colombia and make love because of your emotional detachment allows you. You can do it over and over again. It don't matter. You're not going to go down there and make love to a Miss World candidate that's drop dead gorgeous, 130 pounds, and then come up here and make love to one of these land whales and feel the same about it. You are going to clearly recognize that you can get more for your buck on the sexual marketplace value, for your time and energy. This is what's happening, okay? This is what's happening. The reason we have so many men who are able to do the tricking, first of all, these men are detached because of their upbringing. Second of all, they recognize they get more money for their buck overseas, and they have an emotional detachment, so they don't feel any, they can do it. That's how they was raised. You see? Now, again, if we was talking about a big bunch of wide backs, somebody say wide back Wendy in the chat room. These shaming tactics, they're not directed at good-looking women, just like, listen, the trick shaming, why do they always say these black men are dusty? These passport bros are dusty. Why do they always say that? Why do they always say that these passport bros are dusty? They say they're dusty because they want to be perceived. They want to see you as not not an option anyway, as less attractive, as non-threatening. See, women only want to make love to the top 20% of men in the first place. So if they can, in their mind, use their delusional thoughts to put you in the category of the 80% of men that aren't attractive anyway, then you're not threatening their sexual marketplace value or their ability to get resources. Did y'all get that? That's why instead of looking at the obvious, that it's the cream of the crop, it's the men who have money, the men who are healthy enough to travel, who are passport bros, they want to say, oh no, they're all dusty. Even though you can go to an airport on any Friday in America, headed to Thailand, headed to Colombia, headed to Brazil, and you can see the cream of the crop of brothers on there. We talking about first class flights, straight to Rio, first class flights, straight to Santo Domingo, first class flights, straight to Puerto Plata, straight to Point. I don't know how to say some of them names. That's what you see. You see? So now, in the dynamic of intersexual competition, women use verbal aggression towards each other, but this typically occurs when there's a sense of threat. That's when they do the slut shaming. If another woman doesn't pose any competition, if y'all over there banging, and we live in a matriarchy, right? So they are the ones in charge. If the women didn't pose competition, the interaction, it could turn to praise. You go, girl. You go, girl. You got one of these black men flying all over there to see you, girl. It don't matter if you're a size 48 in the waist, weigh 300 pounds. We proud of you, girl. Go ahead and have it. They don't want you no way. The reason they give the passport bros such a hard time is because they absolutely know that you brothers are the cream of the crop. It poses a threat to them. You understand? Women, typically, I'd say this in my books, women always get along except when they don't. You see what I'm saying? Because they have historical alliances between women, which are always advantageous for communal tasks like child rearing. That's why women always get along. Remember, we came from a situation where we were hunters and gatherers. You understand what I'm saying? And so it benefited women to get along when they had communal tasks like child rearing. So you didn't want to just make enemies unnecessary. That's why when presented with the opportunity, they'll give praise to when a woman is not a threat. Now, when she's seen as a potential rival, right, who could attract a partner and commandeer resources, guess what happens? That blah, 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 that verbal hostility, that's when the slut shaming emerges, right? And in our case, remember what happened this summer? The trick shaming emerged. They was trying to slut shame. The trick shaming the passport bros didn't work. And then the slut shaming propped up, and that backfired. It's like, why you on us? We don't even know y'all. We ain't coming to America. Your men are coming here. You see? Y'all dirt foot 304s. You saw it all happen. You saw it play out, man. You see? And they targeted the women that they saw were attractive to black men. You see? That's what they did. And what they did, they meant to minimize the threat, to help secure the resources for themselves. If we can slut shame these women overseas, right? And if we can trick shame these men, that means more men will stay with us. And it didn't work. It didn't work. It failed miserably. All it did was make these other women say, oh, well, these men must be more valuable. Hey. And that's what happened. Now it's a thing. Somebody type it's a thing in the chat room. Did y'all get it? Are we together? Are y'all all with me? Are we here together? Did y'all lose y'all? Did I lose anybody? Y'all still here? Y'all still here? Come on, talk to me, baby. Let me know if you're still here. I need to know. All right, we'll take a quick break and let y'all soak all that good game in. We'll be right back. Y'all hit the #1 button, baby. We'll be right back. And it led to the creation of various myths surrounding black individuals, black men in specific. They portrayed us as being dangerous, untrustworthy, and intellectually inferior. And over time, these beliefs crystallized into entrenched stereotypes, despite the fact that they bear no connection to reality.
Yes, Lord!
They knew who we were when they brought us over here. They knew about the societies that we created. Hell, some of the chiefs and kings they negotiated with were more intelligent than the slave catchers, had been educated in the universities in Portugal and Spain. Your cop has seen nothing but you being portrayed as thugs and gangsters and killers and deadbeat daddies. He's not gonna think much of you. If those stereotypes are reinforced by the women in your community, he's gonna feel justified in what he does to you. His own women don't like him. That's unheard of. So what do you get? What are the implications of these stereotypes in policing? Proactive stops, which is why black men are more likely to be stopped without clear justification. It doesn't matter if you got a suit on or if your pants are sagging, whether you got a baseball cap or a cowboy hat. In New York, they used to call it stop and frisk. Oftentimes, they're just baseless suspicion. The mere fact that you're a black man means you're more likely to be involved in criminal activity. That's in their mind. What's another one? Use of force. They had numerous studies that have shown that police are more likely to use force against black men compared to men of other races. Yeah, back here keeping it gangster. Shout out to everybody, man, who's still here, baby. We having like a level 10 graduate school class about tricking and proing. You understand what I'm talking about? And I just want to make sure y'all still with me. So I gave you a little time to come on back. We're gonna wrap it up, man. Look, so here's the thing. Let's go do a recap because it's a complicated subject. All right. The question that we started off with is, why is it that we have so many men who are prone to do this tricking? Where did this come from? You see, why do we have so many tricks? You say, why do we have so many pros? It's so many tricks and pros. We learn a lot. Number one, we learn they got something in common. They both detached, like many of you all. The other thing we learn is they're a perfect match for each other. You understand? Now, and we know where they came from. Historical trauma. There's a correlation between childhood sexual abuse and later involvement in sex work, right? As far as women, we also understand that childhood abuse, in a lot of people, the psychological reaction is it diminishes the significance of sex from the victim. You see, it allows them to get back their sexual autonomy. It reduces the importance of sex. That's what they do. This is what they do. It's less sacred. It's less intimate, right? It becomes more of a commodity. It's a simple activity. So what happens? The monetization gives them control. They feel like they reclaiming control over their bodies because they the one doing the selling. Nobody's taking it from them. You see what I'm saying? It gives them a sense of agency and control over themselves. And it also can manifest in hyper promiscuity. They just straight up sluts. Or it can also be they just go straight into sex work because sex don't mean nothing to them. You see what I mean? They're able to will control, you know, over what was at some point an uncontrollable situation. But now, what's the long-term effects, right? And we're talking about the eventual arrival at emotional disconnection in relationships. You see, as a coping strategy, It leads to challenges forming meaningful relationships, particularly sexual loyalty, because sex is viewed as nothing. It's a transactional, it's nothing, right? They don't want to give it away for free, but it's viewed as from a transactional lens, right? Rather than an emotional, intimate one. And this can lead to emotional detachment, short-lived relationships, back to back to back. And it impacts an individual's ability to be a parent effectively. And that perpetuates the cycle, because many of them, men included, you have that emotional issue, emotional detachment, right? Regarding men as clients, you raise typical men, there's often some emotional avoidance. And that could stem from your own childhood. Somebody say your mama. Huh? And we went through those 10 scenarios. And what do? When you do transactional? You a trick, she a pro. You find it difficult to establish emotional connections anyway, which is often a prerequisite for sexual relationships, right? So what happens? You end up paying for sex, and it allows you to skip the emotional intimacy part and proceed directly to the sex act. And so you get your reward. You see, you get your reward. I get my reward anyway. We just cut to the chase. You understand? Now the question, so now that you have that understanding, the financial means as a substitute for the emotional capital that you got to spend on this woman. This is what Kevin Samuels was digging into. Men that can afford it, you just, these situations that require some emotional engagement, you just go and engage with the escort. You get some of the baddest women in the world. I ain't talking about no $2 broad. That's what Kevin Samuels was talking about. He was talking about these high-end, $1,000 a night, $2,000 a night, $5,000 a night. Men that these other men could never touch. Or maybe they could, but if you got this man paying this amount of money for him, it's going to be difficult. You make it purely transactional. It replaces the emotional engagement, which you don't want to give anyway. Yeah, there's some self-esteem issues. Any of y'all who grew up with these traumatic baby mamas going to have some self-esteem issues. All them horrible names that she called you, right? It's normal at this point. You don't believe you even have the time to even deal with it. And so you just avoid the rejection. You don't want to deal with it. But more importantly, lack of emotional empathy. You don't care if she's a sex worker. You don't care because you're emotionally detached. Look, let me tell you something, man. I went to Sasua for the first time in 2010. I couldn't do it. I just wasn't that emotionally detached. I stayed there one night. I'm like, man, I can't. Man, I see these women. They look like we all brown down here. I know about the transatlantic slave trade and all that. Man, I know my history. I'm like, I can't do it. The next day, I ended up in Puerto Plata, which is about 15 miles away from Sasua. And I just stayed there the rest of the time. Because unfortunately, for me, right, I still have empathy. I have emotional intelligence. And I was concerned about the fact that this woman that I'm with, damn, why is she here? You see? So I wasn't as emotionally detached as I need to be a full trick. Damn it. Messed up my tricking. Instead of being focused solely on my personal satisfaction and gratification, I'm like, damn, this bitch is a human being. Excuse the language. I shouldn't, darn it, I said it, darn it. Can't cuss on YouTube, man. They mess with your stuff. Man, I couldn't do it. So I let them out. You understand? You got to be emotionally detached. You can't focus on them. Come on, man. Come on now. Y'all, I know y'all feeling this, man. I know you're learning something tonight. So that's it. And then the crazy thing tricks, and pros, y'all got a mutual emotional disconnect. Y'all perfect for each other. You see, it's a mutual understanding. It's perfect. Everybody, the red pill, we want a virgin. No, she gonna be clingy on you. Some of y'all don't want a clingy woman. Y'all don't want a woman who can pair bond, do you? That's a lot of work. She love you like that. Oh man, she want to cuddle up on you and snuggle up on you. You can't even sit there and play your video games like you want to. She want to know where you at. That's what you get when you deal with a virgin. You done broke her open and got her emotions wide open, and she done clingy to you, and you all detached. You like, I know. Some of y'all couldn't even take it when you went to visit some of these women in these countries. They start cooking for you, man, and cleaning for you. You sat you down, and you sitting in the chair, and they put your food out for you in front of you like this, and you napkin, put the little napkin on your neck, like you like, oh my God, I got to do something. There's too much emotions for you. You can't deal with that. Somebody sitting there catering to you as hard as your life was in the ghettos of America, as mean as your mama and grandmama and aunties and sisters, and now you got somebody catering to you, you can't take it. You can't deal with it. Some of y'all got, let me wash these dishes for your mother soul. I got to do something. No, just sit there right there, papi. It's okay. I got it. No problem. No, yo no necesito nada. Yo tengo. Yo cocino para ti. Tú eres hombre. Tú eres jefe. You can't deal with it. You need one of these emotional detached broads that treat you like you ain't, right. You need that. I'm telling you, getting used to all these hugs. You know, a Latina woman will hug the hell out of you all day. She might stab you if you cheat, but she'll take you to the hospital afterwards because she truly loves you from the inside, especially one of them ones raised in one of those traditional families. But these detached bras, they don't care what you do. You're their possession. They don't want you cheating on them because they want access to your resources, but they don't really care about you like that. They don't even care about their own kids. Some of y'all mamas didn't even care about y'all like that. Unless you was the special child. I'm telling you, I know I'm speaking to somebody out there. I know somebody is hearing this. This is touching somebody's heart. Hallelujah. This is touching somebody's heart. You understand me? Amen. Praise God. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You get your ego and see, here's the thing. You can avoid all that. You can avoid all that. Just give us some money, right? And you get your ego boost without the needing to provide any emotional intimacy. Some of y'all like that girlfriend experience when you go overseas. Some of y'all just hit it, quit it, and y'all out. Y'all banging everything you can for the weekend. You got that Sunday night flight taking you back to New Jersey or New York. You it. You're not there for the emotional intimacy. You there for the ego boost. For the wham, bam, gracias, señorita. And you out. You see what I'm saying? And sex workers provide that affirmation, and they accommodate a client, you tricks, me a trick too, and our unwillingness to engage in the emotion of it. You see? I'm just saying. The strip club is transactional. So it's almost like even women, you know, you might have had a pretty cool upbringing, but at the point where you work in the strip club, in that world, that your professional life begins to bleed over into the private life and you become transactional. It's hard to separate the professional from the personal, some of these ladies. And we talked about the respect and power dynamic. These women don't respect the tricks. They don't respect the tricks because they're paying for something that these women don't even think have that much value. That's why they're selling it. You understand? They respect the pimp because the pimp is in control. He's taking the money from them, so at least he's not a sucker or a chump. You understand? Think about it. Now we understand why you can't turn pro into a housewife. She's not going to be loyal because she doesn't think that much of sex. And the chick that you the CEO, you the NFL ball player, you the NBA ball player, and she out here banging the damn exercise, the yoga teacher. Because at least she got to pay him. She's got to support him. So she respects him. She's the trick in that situation. And she respect that. Ain't that something, man? Damn. And then we dug a little bit into the shame, the role of shame in society. Man, we dug into the role of shame. We got men shaming tricks, and we got women shaming sluts, and we also have women shaming tricks, especially in the Black community. Why? Because that cuts down on the competition. If you start raising the price, these women are giving that thing away for little or nothing because they got all this emotional detachment, or even if they charging, you slushing. It's usually good-looking women. And the men who can't afford to do the tricking like that, they're like, dog, you messing up the price. You out here simping, taking these bras on $1,000 dinner dates. You messing it up for us. You see, you raising the price. You competition. You making it difficult for mating. You see? Now, there's more I could talk about, but I think we get the point. I think I've said enough. I think not only have I said enough, but I've done a lot. Praise God. Hallelujah. In fact, I think I've done so much. I think it's time for you all to pay me for my time. Hallelujah. I think it's time for you all to go ahead. Let's go ahead and put the mood music on. I think it's time for you, if you learned something tonight, somebody type tricking and you heard something that you didn't know before, then it's time for you to pay me for my time, baby. The super chat is open on the main channel. We got 6 super chats so far. Y'all can't be light tonight. I went deep. I broke down some stuff that ain't nobody broke down for you like this ever, baby. You understand a lot more about your little tallywhacker and why you want to put it in the places you want to put it than you ever did before. Hallelujah. You ain't gonna get this nowhere else, praise Moses. No, you're not. So you need to go ahead and pay me for my time. Hallelujah. You need to go ahead and hit that cash app or that super chat. I want 10 super chats more than what we got right now. Somebody say 10 super chats. Somebody type 10 super chats in the chat room. And until then, until you do, we're going to leave you with some of this rap music that I got here on the internet. With my man, Bass Light. Matter of fact, I think I got the perfect song. Yeah. Welcome back, man. The super chat is back, man. I had to turn it back on, man. Y'all was being too light on the cash apps, man. But anyway, man, shout out to Brian Ponder. He said, what's up, Blizzard King? What's up, 06, man? Y'all make sure y'all go check out Brian's channel. Thank you so much, Brian. Shout out to David White. About to head to work. Replay Squad. That's what's up, man. Thank you so much, my man, Jamal Smith. Thanks for the 5, man. Appreciate you. Who else we got? Randy Irvin. Thank you for the $50 super sticker. My man, Simon Morning. Thanks for the knowledge, sir. Hey, look, I'm going to tell you, you got a lot of answers tonight to questions you didn't even know you had. Okay? They always talk about black men have low self-esteem, right? It's because of their mothers. And we've been through enough rejection. They don't want to deal with more rejection from women that look like the women that raised them. Right? They got enough of that. So now when they go overseas, and I'm going to give you guys some advice. When you go overseas, man, it's not a dream. It's real. Those women are really affectionate like that. Go ahead and accept that healing. Go ahead and accept that healing. And hopefully by the time you get to my age, you'll be adjusted. You'll say, yeah, this is what real life is like. What I dealt with as a young boy, that distance, that emotional detachment, that wasn't real. You see, go ahead and enjoy that. Everything these folk are trying to, everything Black America is trying to tell these passport bros not to do exactly what you need to do to heal yourself. Go over there and enjoy that good treatment. Go where you are celebrated, not tolerated. And you are celebrated over in these places like Thailand and Dominican Republic, and Colombia and Brazil. Go enjoy it. I don't care what they say. But shout out to you. Thanks for the night. I hope this sets in on you, man. This is a big one. This is epic. You guys don't realize it. The Riddler, for time you keep preaching because you're talking about me direct. I know I am. I'm talking about the vast majority of Black men who were raised in the Black community over the past 30 or 40 years. This brother's older than me who dealt with detached people who didn't really love them and treat them like they should. Let's see who else we got. Here we got, hi, Dennis, Jess. I joined the F500 company as a director. A huge crush on my SVP. You better leave that white engineer boss. You better leave him alone because you get fired. He gonna meet to you, boo. He gonna meet to you. But sounds like you need to get yourself a one-on-one consultation with Uncle D so I can talk you out of losing your little job. Anyway, you can, if you want to do a one-on-one consultation with me, you can hit me up at sperlingdennis@gmail.com. Ain't nothing wrong with love. I mean, actually, back in the day, that's where people used to meet at the job, Jess. That's where people used to meet. But these days, you get in trouble. You don't want no problems. Anyway, let's see. Legends of Salmonia. You right, Uncle. You right, Uncle. It feel weird like Marcus felt in when did I get married when the wife was too nice to him. Yeah, because you're not used to that. You're used to those detached females, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And that's not normal. What's normal is being loved and appreciated and having somebody. That's normal. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you soft because you're vulnerable. Only you get punished here in the United States in the Black community for that. That's not normal. That does not allow you to be a complete and full human being when you're not allowed to be attached. When you become detached from your emotions, when you don't have that level of emotional intelligence, it's not cool. And the truth is, as much as we like to have sport sex with these beautiful women that we find overseas, at a certain point, man, you're going to realize that that's empty too. Okay? Because I don't know if y'all remember, Uncle D. Before I got my beautiful fiance, I don't know if y'all remember, but I had some photographs that I used to put up, and I might share one with you so you can see what Uncle D used to do. Uncle D used to have 10 of them on the boat. You understand? Some of these young, but they can't do what I do. They not doing what I. No, it'd be me and 10 of them on the boat. You see what I'm saying? And you know, it just I ain't care about none of them. They know I ain't care. That's why they treated me so well. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. And when you're dealing with pros, when you're dealing with women like that, the more detached you are from them, the less they think you care about them, the more interested, the more they respect you. It's a terrible thing, but I found myself in that situation. You see? And the only reason that I'm cognizant of it, and the only reason that I snapped out of it, because deep down on the inside of me, I still am a human being. I still have a heart. And I'd like to thank my grandmother for that. That if it wasn't for some of our grandmothers, we wouldn't have no affinity and no affection for these women at all. But some of us, fortunate enough, we had like a grandma, a one lady that was kind to us, that kept us from kept us from being vampires and just being totally just heartless. But anyway, International Quiet Storm, thank you so much for internet. You done win international. All right, shout out to me. He said support Black male me the solo dolo. Laverne Gibbs, thank you so much. Jonathan Turner, big shout out to you, baby. Who else we got in there? My man Cody Marshall is Shake It for a Simp. That's right. That's one of my favorites, man. Shake it for a simp. Shake it. There we go. Who else we got? Kid Chameleon. Great. Keep up the great work. I will, brother, man. I hope y'all appreciate the quality of what I do, man. Clearly, I put some time and energy into this. I treat it as I treat my law profession. Be as professional as I can with it. Use all the tools available to me. Joe, 49, thank you for the $2, man, helping me meet that 20 stat minimum, that $20, that 20 cash app minimum. Thank you so much, fam. Let me get the rest of these out the way. Who else we got up here? Man, thank you so much, Joe. Got you. Who else we got? Oh, man, I'm missing. I want to make sure I get each and every one. Solo Dolo. Rose said, I ain't never experienced that King service before. I ain't going to lie, my mind wouldn't handle all that good treatment. I know. Isn't that terrible that you have to say that? Black men have been treated so nonchalantly, so badly in the Black community that you don't even know how to be treated good. It's just, it's a sad situation, but I'm happy that we have an outlet. I'm happy that we have places where we can go where normal people interact with me. See, I did a broadcast like this, but in those foreign countries, the women actually like men, and the men actually like the women. We don't really like each other. I don't know if y'all figure, we see each other as enemy combatants over here in the Western world. It's the enemy, but we still deal with each other because we have biological needs. We don't really like each other. But if you go somewhere like Colombia, the reason the women speak to you because they like men, and the men like women, so you don't have to have all that game. Shout out to my man Urban Eagle. Shout out to Thabit Bay. Thank you so much. And that's it for the super chats. Big shout out to Marie, my cash apps, because look, the cash apps is still what's up. You know what I mean? I appreciate it, but I know y'all don't want to. You don't want to pay me for my time on the super chat. Then you know you can use the cash app, or vice versa. Big shout out to Terrell. Big shout out to Mr. Pac-Man 216, Trey 43TX. Thank you, fam. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Bay, Mr. Timmons, Mr. Tyrone, and Mr. Howard. Big shout out to all you guys who contributed. I think we've learned a lot tonight. We already are 2 hours into this thing. Oh, somebody came through with another super chat. Hallelujah. It's not tricking if you got it, but if you don't, they're simping and you're pimping. Well, I don't know about all that, brother, but if you listen to the broadcast, you can clearly see what I'm talking about on this thing, man. I think we made some, groundbreaking work. You have hopefully now listening to this, you'll have a better understanding of yourself. And that's the most important thing. Shout out to Anubis. Thank you so much. Y'all still coming in with this. Yeah, this is first day back on the super chat, man. Y'all supposed to come through, man. Uncle D is supposed to be doing good. Shout out to my man, Expansion Wine Technologies. But the thing is, you should now have a better understanding of yourself. Why are you, even if you're not out there tricking, baby, even if you ain't out there paying for it, you have a better understanding of why you're so detached. Because remember, this trickles down to your children. You understand me? So let's become better men by understanding who we are. Let's embrace that. Okay? You're emotionally detached. How do we know? Look at your upbringing. All those 10 scenarios. That needs to be like, somebody needs to clip that and throw that through the internet and break each one of those down. And everybody who's lived that experience growing up need to raise their hand. Shout out to GCLA. Thank you so much, fam. You understand? Because it's a lot of us. Why are there so many men these days who are prone to tricking? How can you do that? Why do you value sex so little that you could just pay for it and it be transactional? Why is that? This ain't no love story. This is just a quick lust story. We got so many modern men who are willing to pay for sex. What's the source of that phenomenon? Where did it come from? Now you know, or you have a good idea. You're emotionally detached. And if you're emotionally detached, you got a bunch of women that are emotionally detached, how y'all gonna raise these kids? Why do you think we have kids who could just do anything with their body these days? They don't value their bodies. They don't value sex. Do you want to live in a nation full of 304s, in a nation full of pros? Because that's where we at. They see sex as a commodity. Why? Unfortunately, some of them had dragons in their past. Some of them had experiences in their childhood. They see sex as insignificant. They can't be loyal. You wonder why we got 30% of women who have men are paying child support on the 30% level for kids that aren't theirs? Because the women are cheating. Why? Because you can't turn she doesn't loyalty for what? But that's like me taking somebody to the grocery store. That's nothing. It's an activity. It's a mere activity. Sex is meaningless to these women. And realistically, their children are meaningless to them too, because they're a byproduct of this sexual act, which is meaningless to them. So this is where we are. Understand who you're dealing with. Understand how we move forward and heal ourselves. You need good, loving, substantial relationships. Look, let me tell you something, man. The way I operated when I was out in them streets for like 10 years straight, from 2010 to 2020, when I had the villa, I mean, I might have on a random Tuesday, it might be 10 women in my house, me and 10 women. And they literally, we'd be hopping in and out the pool, butt naked. I might just be chilling on the couch and they'll be cooking. I wouldn't care about none of them. And they knew it. Someone was like, look, you know, we know you're the type of man that's a good man. We see you got kids, you know, and you successful. You're never going to be able to have nothing substantial with us. This is what the women told me. And I'm like, yeah, I know you're right. I'm just passing time. But I know that. You know, I know that I wasn't destined just to be tricking for the rest of my life. You understand? It was just something I was doing, the alcohol, the women. It was just something I was doing to pass the time. But I did learn a lot. You see, between the tricks, I did have some nice girlfriends. I learned how I was supposed to be treated. I have a more substantial and loving relationship now because the women that I've experienced from those cultures who actually loved on me and treated me with the respect that I deserve, they changed my perspective. They let me know my first time going to Brazil, man, I was like, this is not real. This is not real. It's I'm 29 years old. It's what year is this? This is 2004. I'm like, this is not real. I had to tell myself, this is not real. This is not real. All these smiles, because I mean, I'm from, you know, the States. Women don't treat you like this. You don't get this sort of love and affection and appreciation. Even if it is transactional, they doing too much. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, and then they mess around, and the next thing you know, they want you to come back, and you falling in love, and you keeping up with them, and they fall in love with you. Damn, you understand? And you like, this ain't real. This ain't real. None of this is real. And women don't really act like that in the real world. Let me go back to the United States in the real world. And then you go somewhere else and they the same way. And don't mess around and get down there long enough and end up learning the language and absorbing the culture and buy you a place down there. Then you end up with a girlfriend, 2 or 3 years, 4 years, whatever. And then you get used to that good treatment. You be like, wow, this is normal. You get used to being served and catered to and pampered and treated like a real man is supposed to be treated, that king treatment. Whether you a taxi driver, a taxidermist, a lawyer, or a legislator, whether you a convict or a cop, the mere fact that you're a man, you get treated like this, and you can't undo that now. You get used to the hugs and the affection. Look, as black men in America, the way we grew up, you'll never get totally used to that emotional connection because we weren't raised like that. We're emotionally disconnected en masse. I'm just speaking. I know we are. That's why it's so easy for us to pull the trigger on each other. We don't value that. But there is a path towards healing. And I'm not just one to show you. Shout out to my man, J. D. Rich. He said, you missed my earlier chat. I missed your earlier chat, bro. I'm sorry about that. I'll have to go back through. But it's not just therapy. It's the experiences. Good experiences are going to be your best therapy. Good experiences are going to be your best. That healing that comes from being loved and appreciated is going to be your best experiences, fellas. That's your best therapy. So go down there and enjoy that good treatment. I don't care what these trick shamers are telling you. They're just mad because they can't do it. Don't worry about it. Somebody type trick shaming in the chat room. All right. Anyway, God bless y'all. I love y'all, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this long lesson. Please replay it. I'm really looking forward to hearing what people have to say. I want to thank you all so much. Big shout out to the legacy of Kevin Samuels, man. Brother, I know you're looking down on us, man. Your legacy is still strong. We're going to keep you alive. Your friends and comrades are going to keep you alive. Brilliant man. Brilliant man. And for those of you guys who don't know, we were breaking down his statement where he talked about tricking, and it's just so much. So do I agree with him? In some regard, I do. As before, I just was absolutely no, but now I see the logic. I see the logic. It's brilliant. The man was brilliant. He was definitely a diamond. He was definitely a diamond of knowledge. Other than that, man, this is Uncle D. I love you guys. I'm out.